Hey everyone, this is Dion Baker, creator of Womb Apparel, and I just wanted to talk with you a bit about my experience on Election Day and what I ran into and why Election Day is every day. After arriving to my desk that morning on Tuesday, I handled my usual routine of preparing for the day's agenda. I fired up the computer, turned on the accessory, the speakers and everything, and I have a little desk calendar that's on my desk actually. It's a Forbes success calendar, and I turned the calendar for the day. And what I ran into was a quote by George Jean Nathan. It said, "Bad officials are elected by good citizens who do not vote." Once again, bad officials are elected by good citizens who do not vote. And I thought, yeah, it's a great quote, right? You know, an excellent play on words, and it actually led me to think deeper about voting. And plus, with it being election day, the quote fit perfectly. But I thought about the quote for a moment, and I decided to take it outside of the scope of mere citizens' rights and talking about just the pure legal aspect of voting that's often discussed. And I thought about it in a totally different way. And in thinking about it in that way, in the different way, which I'll get to in a moment, I had three questions. One, when is election day really? Two, who are the bad officials? And three, who does not vote? And so here's some answers from my perspective. And before I get into it, let's take a moment just to say a few things regarding my responses on those three questions. Is that I'm taking an entirely different stance on election day and voting rights than just the perspective of citizens' rights, constitutional law, or party bashing. Going to the local school or the firehouse to cast a ballot or being presented with the boilerplate political party and agendas are not within the scope of my responses. What I'm doing is I'm taking the quote from a different perspective and telling you about the real elections and your real vote. So now that we're clear on that, here are my answers to those three questions. Question number one is, when is election day really? My answer is that election day is every day. That's right, every single day is election day. It's not simply the big day that occurs on a Tuesday in the beginning of November. Every single day that you live and breathe, you are electing someone, something, somewhere into office in your life. To illustrate my point, we could take a look at businesses and habits as an example. You conduct an election with every single business that you patronize and with every single habit that you condone. Your patronage and support of a particular business or a particular habit of your own actually helps each one of them thrive. So every time you choose to patronize or condone something, you are electing it. And since that happens every day is election day, and you vote every day. This moved us on to question number two of, who are the bad officials? My response is that the bad officials are the things that we support and condone that do not galvanize our well-being. The bad officials are elected by voters, not those who do not vote. It is the voters that actually elect the bad officials, not those who do not vote. And continuing with the example of the businesses and habits, every time you patronize or condone bad businesses or bad habits of your own, you are electing bad officials. So if you're supporting a business that has practices that don't support your well-being and are actually helping bad businesses stay in office, and they are being elected by you. If you are condoning bad habits or habits that are contrary to your well-being, you're helping bad habits stay in office, and they are being elected by you also. So who are you putting into office in your life? Bad officials aren't elected by citizens who do not vote. They are being elected by all of us who do. And considering this, we must ask, well, who does not vote? That's the third question. Who does not vote? And my answer is that everybody votes. So in other words, nobody does not vote. And each one of us is a voter that elects officials into office into our lives through the practices and habits that we condone. Therefore, if you would like to see officials in office that give back to your community, for example, You need to patronize those that give back to your community, or you can start giving back to your community in other ways that you see beneficial. But the point is, you need to start giving back if you want to see officials in office that give back in your community. You need to support those that do, or start doing it yourself. And if you would like to see habits of tolerance, respect, encouraging in your community, for example, it's time that you started electing officials that exhibit tolerance, respect, encourage, right? You need to patronize them and provide the same types of support through your own actions. So show tolerance, respect, encourage through the things you do, as well as supporting those who also show tolerance, respect, encourage. Because everything you do supports one thing or another and casts a ballot into the voting box. That's why everybody votes every single day. Every day is election day, 365 days a year. Today, as we watch the news brewing over whether or not the Democrats or Republicans won the race or who's winning, we need to remember that today is not the only day that we cast ballots. That's the point. We make elections every day. And age 18 is not a legal age required to be granted the privilege. It doesn't matter who you are, the younger, the older, all of us votes whether we like it or not. You don't have a choice. The questions are, who are you electing in your life? And another question is, since you don't have a choice and you vote anyway by the nature of your support and the things that you condone, you also must ask, what are you voting into office? Or who am I voting into office? You also must ask, are they bad officials or are they good officials that I'm voting into office, so that you're voting into office through the thing that you support and condone? Because we have a responsibility to put good officials into office in our lives. And without doubt, we will definitely be held accountable for the bad ones that we elect. I'll sign off right here. Once again, this is Dion Baker of Womb Apparel, and that's just a little something for you to think about, and hopefully you continue your life thinking about your real right to vote and the thing that you can do to empower yourself and your life to put good officials into office. Govern yourself. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.